Hello. So yeah, I'm back. First of all, I know my last video said I'm really going to put a lot more effort into, obviously, the everyday vlogging. There is a reason why I haven't been posting every day. I've been meaning to make this video for quite a while. It's just not something I feel too comfortable about doing. But after having quite a lot of conversations with my parents, kind of certain individuals dotted around me, I kind of feel like this needs to be done. I have written a rough guideline of the points that I do want to briefly kind of touch on. And yeah, I'm not really going to edit this video, so we'll see literally how it comes out. So let's get into it. So if I come across at any point like I'm awkward or slightly uncomfortable, it is because I am. So sorry. I'm like already sweating and I've just put this t-shirt on. So I just want to summarize kind of who I am, because something I've realized is your viewers aren't always people who you know, and that's something I thought I knew. I thought I'm bad. I'm just gonna get straight into the video because all this talking, I'm just constantly thinking, I'm just panicking about what's about to come, so I'm just gonna get straight into it. But yeah, so I want to take a minute to kind of talk about my mental health as a whole, and the fact that it's such a kind of unspoken about kind of subject for a lot of people. For me especially, the reason why I kind of feel I need to make this video is because something I've learned and kind of have felt throughout growing up is that people have a perception of who you are based on maybe where you've worked, the kind of places you spent a lot of your kind of teenage years, or be it whatever. And admitting to myself, not even anyone else yet, admitting to myself that I had anxiety and depression was maybe one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. And I honestly only think I've admitted it within like the last, I probably admitted that I actually like accepted that I had it maybe about a month ago. But in terms of like not feeling guilty for having these illnesses, probably like 2 days. I'm going to touch on why 2 days specifically a little bit later in the video, because there is a few bits that I will need to let you guys know what happened so you have some context. But essentially that is what the video is going to be about, and hopefully it can relate to a few of you at least. I'm feeling mad awkward, man, I'm so sorry. I've been working in the fashion industry pretty much most of my life, so as you can assume, there's a lot of kind of assumptions and attachments that go along with that in itself. I managed the online store for a small Bristol independent, and then I went to Apple. I recently left Apple as a genius. Anyway, so now I'm working freelance, which is going really well, which I'm really happy about, like thank God for that. But about I'd probably say 6 weeks now, maybe went officially freelance. I can't talk about too much of the work I'm doing because of confidentiality and things like that, but I can tell you I'm working with a UK distributor who is one of my clients, and we are working on multiple projects with multiple people. That is the vaguest thing I've ever said in my life. But I mean, if you keep watching, if you subscribe to me and you watch the behind the scenes videos, then I'm going to be doing a lot more camera work when we get into the kind of bits that I'm allowed to show. Obviously my company, The Inner Circle, we've got a lot of stuff planned. We've got an event at the end of the month, we've got a photo shoot at the beginning of October. So there's loads of stuff. We're making a video with a fair few of the stores in Bristol, which should be awesome. We've got drones. Anyway, sticking to the point. Well, this journey started when I was like 21. So I can't remember exactly if there was another job in between or not. But those three were the main ones. As well as doing that, so I used to do some modelling. Modelling, I called it standing there in clothes, unless there was nothing to contract it and say I was an official model. So going back a little bit to when I actually got diagnosed with severe anxiety and depression, I need to stop. One thing you're going to learn about me throughout this video is I belittle every single thing that I'm dealing with. That is something I'm really trying to work on. I spoke to my doctor about it, and they said it's actually a bit of denial, like not accepting the issue at hand. It is depression, it is anxiety. I don't know why I do that, I'm sorry. It's just, I think I feel so uncomfortable when I say it. It's just like a reaction almost, I don't know. I mean, you've seen a lot of light-hearted videos go up recently. I mean, I did that F Jake Paul music video. All these things were just purely for fun. The last 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year have been really hard. So there's been a few things. There's been a few things like video-wise, like the Airhot video that I really felt I wanted to kind of just have a positive day and hopefully make something that can put a smile on somebody else's face, especially if you're going through anything similar to what I am currently dealing with now. So that's where it started. I got scouted for that role from 5 Points. I didn't actually apply, which was like the most humbling thing in the world. So obviously I went for it. I went through 5 stages of interviews and it went on for 6 months to get the job. I went straight in at the time at that level. I didn't actually know that that was something that didn't happen because this was my first job or experience within the company. That in itself put an insane amount of pressure on me. Like subconsciously as well, because I didn't even know at the start. It was all just kind of happened. I was so excited to get a new job. I mean, obviously I did get paid more than I was on before, which always helps. And I was just geared up and ready to go. It was a job I'd wanted since I was a little kid, so I was stoked to get it. From the start, there was a lot of kind of questioning about why I was employed and things like that, and kind of negativity thrown my way from a few colleagues. Long story short, fell out with quite a few colleagues. I'm not actually sure for what reason. I couldn't actually remember and tell you right now, which is absolutely ridiculous. Goes to show that most of the shit we argue about is fucking pointless. I don't even think the people knew they were doing it. This is the point. I think this is the first time I'm going to be able to speak about it. From an exterior point of view, seeing someone come in from 5 Points, I mean, the first day I came in, I actually made a point to not change who I was based on where I was going to work. So it was a day where I could wear my own clothes. I went in a XXL, I think it was a classic t-shirt, which is a streetwear brand from the States. Like, I was wearing skinny jeans, so the jeans were alright, but it was a XXL white t-shirt. Oh, do you mind? Oh my god, it was a Biggie t-shirt. So it was a Biggie Smalls, and it had Biggie Smalls lyrics on the back. It was actually a pretty dope t-shirt, to be fair, but I stained it. Anyway, that was the initial impression, which I created for myself. So in a way I could say this is my own fault, but I shouldn't have to not dress a certain way so people don't assume things, you know? I don't think any of us should really. But anyway, so that happened. Yeah, kind of like a year before I left. I broke up with my girlfriend who I was with for just under 2 years, I think. It didn't go too well. The reason... So we were moved in together. The reason we moved in together was because I had something happen at a house that I lived at with 2 of my friends, and I fell out with my friends, so I had to leave. So it was kind of like a rock and a hard place. So I ended up moving in with my now ex for quite a while now. And it didn't work out. I think we put pressure on it. For whatever reason, it didn't work out. I'm not going to speak negatively about anyone. There's no need to. But it didn't work out, that's the point. So I kind of was like homeless again, and then, not homeless, that sounds so fucking exaggerated. I didn't have a place to live, but I definitely had places where I could go and stay. Like, I wasn't homeless. I just didn't have my own home per se. So yeah, I was in between like families, sofas, my mum's. I stayed at my mum's for like a month straight. It was horrible. All of this just reinforced obviously the issues I had building up in the background. So appearance and assumptions and the effects this can have on someone, I think is really, really, really important to kind of just check yourself. To have an assumption is your complete right, and do it. Like, if you need to, I mean, I do it. I'm not gonna even sit here and lie to you for a second and say that I don't assume or make judgments on people when I see them. Yes, I do. Whether I voice those or would ever let that person know, I know it's a subconscious reaction to kind of see something and perceive it as something, but then to voice it and to knowingly let that person know, or whatever, to make that person aware of whatever your assumption is, I think is a bit wrong. And your perception can be built off of your own experience. So let's say, this is just an example, if you hadn't seen a certain ethnicity much, this is something that's happened to me personally, so I'm going to talk on it. Someone hadn't obviously been around someone who looks like me and speaks like me, I guess, that much. They openly told me they lived in like the countryside, they grew up in the countryside or something. Fair enough. They were still quite a really open-minded person, so no beef. But what they did say is that, well, what they admitted to is that their perception that was built up by them living in their area, which unfortunately was quite closed off and not too multicultural, that created a perception. They're already on their back foot before I even opened my mouth. Do you know what I mean? And this must be what I'm experiencing. In no way am I trying to say is like the worst thing in the world. I'm just saying my experience, how it's made me feel, the results of that experience, how I'm trying to deal with it. And yeah, I mean, I know there are people in 10 times worse situations than me. Like, don't get me wrong, I know that. And in a way it kind of fucks me up, because I'm like, I thought I was a really strong person. So to have to admit that there are people going through worse than you and probably dealing with it in a better way, that doesn't help. But again, that's not something with anxiety. You can't keep adding more and more stones to the pile for you to worry about. You need to just get yourself down to ground zero, stop stressing yourself out, and give yourself a break, man. I'm going on a bit of a tangent. I mean, I'm probably going to have to edit this in some way so it actually makes some sort of sense. But if I wasn't embarrassed to show my sweat patches on screen, I would. I am so hot right now. The statistics on anxiety are insane, and the people who suffer with this and don't tell people is madness. I think I was looking at the statistics and it was like 40% of young people actually have some sort of anxiety that they're either knowingly dealing with. So is another reason why I felt the need to make this video. I want to just take a minute to talk about social media and reality. There's no one to blame for this, and I think we all kind of contribute to our own detriment in this instance, unfortunately. But so Instagram, let's just start with that. It's almost turned into a huge contest where you are there battling to outdo each other in terms of how you can perceive your life to be. There is no way your life can be lit 100% of the time. This is a massive contributor to anxiety and depression. I would probably say this solely is one of the main issues that will reinforce a feeling you're already having, or potentially create one. If you have anxiety, I just found, as I said, this is my experience, I found myself, I wasn't putting pictures up because I wasn't putting pictures up because I liked the picture. Of course there's an element to it where I like the photo, but I was putting up pictures for likes. I've been putting up pictures for, I only stopped doing this, like, I came off Facebook maybe like a year ago and then remade it and came back, you know, that what everyone does. But I kind of took my foot off the pedal with like Instagram and stopped caring so much quite a while ago, I'd say, actually, to be fair. But even to this day, I still care about likes. The one thing I said about making this video is I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that, like, one thing is accepting it, and we live in a world where social media essentially runs most of our life. You need to accept that to understand where to change it. So for me, it just reinforces all negative feelings. It swings in both ways. You have people portraying themselves as people that they're not, which in turn has a knock-on effect to when you meet them in person, because you expect a certain person, and when you don't get that, it will create an awkward situation. And if that person does suffer from anxiety, they're going to think about that for a while. And then in turn it goes the other way. You have people, instead of putting themselves out there, they're always looking for people who they can become. They want to model their Instagram page on the next person's Instagram page, on the next person's Instagram page. It is honestly ridiculous. Like, we need to realize how bad an effect this is having on us as humans and us as a generation. This has got so much worse in the last 6 years. I'd say, like, when I was 18, 19, it was not this bad. I would be terrified to be an 18, 19-year-old in this generation. In fact, no, I'd be terrified to be a 16-year-old in this generation. But that is a point that I'm going to get onto later on. Anxiety is a motherfucker. You overthink every single aspect of your life. I always, in my head, there's very little time where I'm not stressing. I don't even know how to explain it. It's a constant battle. I just put it like that. What I've noticed mainly though is since my threshold has been ground down to where it is right now, I found myself extremely sensitive. Things that I used to be able to just hear and be said to me would go in one ear and go out the other. That's not the case now. I seem to be holding on to any negativity thrown at me for quite a while. It puts me in a very dark place. I never used to be like that, so it's taken a little bit of adjustment for me. It's taken a bit of adjustment for me. I did it again. So it's taken a bit of adjustment for me. Third time lucky. I do kind of want to let you know how bad it has got, because I don't talk to anyone about it. And one thing I want to go back to is the reason why I started YouTube was to spread awareness and to help people maybe in a similar situation like me, if not worse off. So the last 2 months, there's been a few things that happen where I've chosen to maybe do to myself that would make me not be here anymore. That's not something I want to talk to you about too much. It's just kind of something I wanted to touch on. So that's happened a fair few times recently. Like last week was a bit crazy. I had like one of my parents crying down the phone to me, begging me not, like, it's fucked up, man. It's fucked up where this will take you. But I don't want to talk about that too much. I just want to let you know, because that's kind of not something I would tell anyone. So I feel like including that in this video, is kind of a stepping stone for me. I'm just gonna need to right, I'm good. Sorry. It's like the weirdest triggers, man, and like I'm not someone who gets upset as well, so if there are people out there who are like me, it's alright, man. Like, it really is alright to feel shit sometimes. You don't have to beat yourself up about it all the time. That's one thing I found, you know? Like, it's alright to have a break. It's alright to give yourself a little time out. I've been working for like 10 years, almost full time. It's tiring, man. And like when you're working in industries where you're being made to feel like this, you're being made to feel like this, you're being made to feel like this, it's a long time for things to build up. And one thing I didn't realise is that my threshold was actually being like, this is how I always explain it to my parents, is like it's been ground down to the point where there isn't any tolerance left. And that's not somewhere I ever thought I would end up, and it's not somewhere I enjoy being. But it's where I am. So is to accept that and make steps to improve that. As I said, I'm working freelance now. I made a decision to leave my job, which was the hardest decision of my life. I ummed and ahed about leaving my job. With my last job, I went part-time before actually making the decision to leave. I went part-time to see if I could deal with it. I was always in the doctors 2-3 times a week. I've had my body react in certain ways because of the stress. I've had a torn intestine for like the last 6 months, 8 months. I've had multiple cysts show up. It's just not good. I was going to the gym, I was putting on a lot of weight. I used to be, I think I was like 13.5 stone. I'm now, as you can tell, not 13.5 stone. I've got very fast metabolism. So to get to that sort of size, I was piling protein, piling calories. I was training like every other day. It was just a lot. And on top of that, I was working 50-60 hours. I think my point with all this, the reason I'm telling you, is because I don't take care of myself, and it's so important to take care of yourself. Try not to get too bogged down by the pressures that this world is telling you to focus on. Obviously, you've got your main priorities, which are like have a good job, be happy, try and spread positivity. You know what I mean? It's just the fundamentals to set yourself up with a good life, but don't let that cloud having fun. Don't let that cloud doing something you enjoy. Don't let it cloud taking care of yourself and putting your health as a priority, because it is. I mean, it's so easy to be chasing the carrot, but to not make rest stops in between. I think that's the best way I can put it. Back on topic, I went to Swindon. I'm actually going to show you a bit of the footage, because one of the main things, I think my instant anxiety is being called or perceived as intimidating, or as if I'm trying to, I don't know, scare someone, I guess. Intimidate, scare, same thing. I've been getting that a lot throughout my life. I have no problem with most things as long as you're honest about it. Just don't lie to yourself. Like, don't lie to yourself. Like, come on. Do you know what I mean? I can't, like, just fuck all that. Like, fuck all that. Just be honest with yourself. I don't have a problem. It's not, there's so many reasons which could be why you don't feel comfortable around a certain race. So, like, I'm not here to judge you. I'm just asking you the question so you can be real with yourself. I'm going to show you a clip. I got thrown out. I posted it on my Twitter. Basically, long story short, I went up to Swindon. I was feeling really shit. I had to really G myself up to go. It was going to be the first day I vlogged in a long time. I didn't want to put my face on camera. I felt like crap, obviously. I tried to do something stupid a few days before, just for some context. So then that's why this day really was the worst day that what I'm about to show you could ever have happened. So I'm just going to, what happened, I got thrown out of a shop called Yankee Candle. I went in there just filming myself being like happy and positive, as I'm trying to be every day, and hopefully I'm being. As soon as I turned the candle off, as soon as I turned the camera off, I looked to my left and there were three members of staff like this, just staring at me. And as soon as, no lie, as soon as I pressed stop recording, they just went for it, and they were just bare attitude for no reason. Like, I'm just there like, it was my slack day, I felt like shit. I normally dress like, kind of like presentable because of the environments I work in, you know? But this day I didn't have any work, I had the hat on, I had extra long t-shirt, extra large t-shirt, sorry. I was actually wearing like, what are they called? Nike kind of slim leg joggers, like tapered, and then some Jordans. So, oh, and a Supreme bag. So I got tattoos and stuff and piercings. So if you, I guess I can see how I might look intimidating until I open my mouth. But I was speaking to these guys. Long story short, they called security on me. They threw me out of the store for no reason. I decided to try and talk to the guys who manage the actual place and get my point across. And just one thing with me is like, I have to make it better for the person behind me. I cannot go for a situation that's like that and walk away essentially thinking that that could happen to someone else. You know what I mean? My conscience doesn't roll like that. So I'm waiting there. Bro, like, I'm crying, bruv. Like, in a mile, bro. Like, no one sees me. Like, if I cry, it's like, do you know what I mean? For that to happen in a mile. So I've gone to the front desk. I've said my case to the person on the front desk. They've called a manager across. Manager's come along. Took about 15 minutes to get there. This woman who eyed me up and down straight away. I was so annoyed because I was like, this is the one day where I don't look smart. But anyway, not that I should have to look smart to go shopping, to please someone else. That's exactly why I'm making this video. But anyway, so she came over, eyed me up, looked me up and down, and I just kind of, and then she sighed. And then she went, I hope this isn't going to be a wasted trip because I've walked pretty far. And I was just like, what? Bearing in mind I'm in bits. Like, in bits, and that's what she said. And she was like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to make the situation a bit more lighthearted. Anyway, so I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to show you the footage. I just want you to understand kind of, I want you to see my face and the way I walked into the shop. These people called me intimidated, shouted in front of a shop full of people that I was intimidating, threatening, and refusing to leave the store. Me. I was speechless. That's what I was like a stuttering idiot when it was all happening. I was stood there like, I don't know what's going on, bro. Like, what the hell? Like, threatening? Like, what? Like, what? Anyway, I'm going to show you the clip and we're going to move on. Here it is.
Yankee, 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 Yankee.
Hey, right?
Might be worth it. What are these ones actually? No reason. That's quite a big thing to say for no reason, is it?
Cool. So you've seen it. I just hope you understand kind of the vibe I was feeling. I showed you the other bit as well. I just want you guys to see how I carry myself on a day-to-day basis regardless of what I'm wearing. I'm polite, I'm friendly, I'm positive. The only time you will ever, I have the capacity to be aggressive. I'm not an aggressive person. I have the capacity to be. And that's what people don't seem to like. People seem to like this type of person who will let you walk over them in all walks of life. And that's not fucking me. Like, for real. That's not me. And that's not wrong to be like that. You're wrong. Like, I'm tired of being made to feel like I'm wrong for standing up for myself. We don't live in a world where you have to be stood all over by someone else who thinks is better than you. Fuck all that. Train you and train you and train you to feel like what the next person, just because the average Joe, every other person is doing it, you should be doing it. No, you should be striving to make the best out of yourself. That's what you should be doing. And I am here to help you, to help support you. I'm trying to do it myself. If you like, feel free to message me. Don't ever feel a way to message me about any advice or anything positive. Like, I would do this honestly is what I feel I need to be doing, along with running my own company and doing my freelance consultancy for the clients I've got, this is something I'm going to be putting a lot of effort in. But 40%, even if that's a little off, even if that's only a little bit off, that's 40% of young people that are going through something similar, having suicidal thoughts, who could be younger than me, who probably are younger than me. That's... Right, I need to go on to this point straight away, actually. So, fuck us, fuck me, fuck everyone in their 20s. Like, we're almost 30. If anything, we don't need the help as much. We're grown up, do you know what I mean? If there's anyone you can really give this help to, please give it to the people that sit in school. What is going on now and how this generation has evolved in the last 4 to 5 years with streetwear brands, fashion brands, trainer brands, like all of it, like accessories, like... But my point is, these effects are trickling down to our younger generation, which shows they're going to trickle down to our younger generation and our younger generation and our younger generation and so on. These kids that are fucking 13, 14, 15 and in school. I know you've seen stories about non-school uniform days and kids not being able to afford the same brands as some maybe more well-off kids, and then they're getting bullied in school about it. That breaks my heart, man. Bullied in school for the clothes you're wearing on non-school uniform day. It makes me just want to kick over a couple of kids, I'm telling you, like... But that's obviously not the response. The right response is to make the change at the top and let it filter down. It's not to blame these kids for being obsessed with items that we've been obsessed for however long. They're following in our footsteps and doing exactly what we're doing. Imagine your daughter saying she wants to be like Miley Cyrus. Or like your son saying he wants to be like Lil Wayne. Don't get me wrong, Lil Wayne's music's lit. I'll turn up once, maybe in every 6 months. And every other time in between that, I'm working. Do you know what I mean? I'm working to... It's okay to enjoy these materialistic items, but please take it with a pinch of salt. And just remember that they are just items. They aren't your identity. They don't shape who you are as a person, but they have the potential to, if you aren't aware of who you are. We're going to be doing some events towards the end of the year, the beginning of next year, that are going to be focused on spreading awareness for mental health. I'm not really too clued up on the charities as it stands. If any of you guys know of any good kind of foundations or charities or whatever, then please hit me up. I'm going to look into it. I'm going to fund these projects myself because I would have been funding them for the inner circle anyway. But the proceeds will be going to charity, to spreading mental awareness. I've got some friends who are already on board with me to help out with this. I think it's going to be a really positive thing. I feel great about deciding to do this as a person, and it honestly is incredible to be in a position where even my little money that I get, I can kind of put that towards making a difference and kind of helping my fellow man. I know it sounds fucking cheesy, but he's my fellow man. Like, let's go back in the day, man. Like, one of the main issues with all this is feeling like no one else is dealing with it and you're alone, which is very easy to feel. So hit me up. I'm happy to hear about it. Like, honestly, like, the more people that we get involved, I'm sure the more people we meet, the more opportunities that will arise for us to do good things. So I think it's important to connect with people going through similar things. If you're a YouTuber who's just started, hit me up. I am about helping people. Like, that is what I want to do. So when I can, bear with me, of course, because I do have 2 freelance jobs that I do, as well as run my own company. But as soon as I get a second, I will respond to anything that comes in. If you just need to chat, if you just want to talk, if you have an idea for a project that we could do to help raise awareness, I'm down. Basically anything. All my socials I'm going to put below. Still pushing on every day to stay as positive as I can, to keep myself in a healthy mindset. It's a shame that the weather's not been that great, but as soon as the sun comes back out, I'm going to have the drone out, we're going to have new footage. And yeah, I'm just going to try and have some fun for and work. Life is supposed to be fun. I haven't enjoyed the last fair few years, so it's time to enjoy it a little bit. Leave a comment. Let me know what you thought. I'll see you in the next video, alright? Take care.